It's the holidays and there are a lot of great smart home deals. I know a lot of folks are getting their first smart speakers or thinking about expanding their smart home. I wanted to make this video because there's some changes coming to the smart home, and I wanted to let you guys know so that you don't make purchases now that you regret later. As is, I just made a purchase thinking it would future-proof, and it's not now, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So let's talk about what's changing in the smart home, talk about some of the companies that are taking advantage of this new protocol, and at the end, I'll share with you how I'm moving forward within my smart home. Now, the biggest change coming to the smart home is the new Matter protocol. We now have Matter certified devices coming out. This is going to make it so much easier to set things up for people and to not have to worry about devices working with certain assistants. Now, if you're not familiar with Matter, it is a new open source smart home protocol that was created by the Connectivity Standards Alliance. That group partnered up with over 200 companies that include Samsung, Apple, Amazon, Google, and a lot more. These companies came together to create Matter. Apple contributed the HomeKit API into the mix. Amazon added features such as frustration-free setup, so any device that is Matter certified will easily connect up to any assistant quickly. The goal of Matter is to have any smart device work with any smart assistant, whether it is Amazon or Apple. You tear those walls down so that you really can just buy a device based on what you want and not what it works with. In the description, I'll put in a link to an article from Consumer Reports, but they had a great part in it that said, if it succeeds, this new standard will be a huge improvement and will allow consumers to choose models based on features and price rather than compatibility with a specific system, free from the worry that they may stop working due to inevitable changes in the industry. Compatibility of devices across assistants has been a big problem. It's good to have a standard that will continue to work even if a company decides to get rid of their smart home division. So where we're at now is the first round of certifications have come out. There's over 190 devices to choose from. Now, there are whole categories that still aren't certified under Matter yet. For example, there are 4 new categories that have been announced. They are cameras, home appliances, robot vacuums, and more advanced energy management categories that have already been announced. So it could be a little while before we see certain things in Matter versions. So if you want to get a smart vacuum, the certification doesn't exist yet for Matter. So who's to say when that'll come out and when the manufacturer you want is going to get that certification. Knowing that you can't get Matter certified devices across all different categories, it just may make sense to get certain things, and next time you upgrade, you get a Matter version. Now, if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button and the bell so you get notified of the next one of these videos. Now let's talk about some of the companies that are supporting Matter. So let's start off talking about Philips Hue. Not only have they announced Matter support for their devices, they've actually started to roll out Matter support already to developers in their beta program. What Philips is doing is they are updating their hubs to support Matter, starting now in their beta program, but beginning of the year, you're going to be able to upgrade your Philips Hue hub and have all of your lights become Matter compatible. Now, what isn't going to be compatible is one of their little controllers and their HDMI sync box. And the reason why is there is no Matter certification for those items yet. So that's one of the things you're going to run into. If it falls into one of the supported Matter devices, it's going to get updated with that hub. Now, what we're going to find as you do this transition to Matters that devices and manufacturers like Philips Hue that use hubs are going to be able to update a lot of their devices with a simple update. Another company using hubs that's going to see a big update across their devices is Aqara. They're going to start off with their M2 hub, giving it an over-the-air Matter update. From that point, all the devices that connect up to that are going to become Matter certified. They're going to have a total of 160 Matter devices across 10 different categories, all with just updating hubs. And that's going to be something when devices are all Wi-Fi based, that's when the upgrade plan is going to get a little trickier. So we're going to have to see how that goes. Another brand that is diving early into the smart home is IKEA. They have a new hub out that I never can say the names of these things. It's the IKEA Dirigera. I've given up. That's just what I call that. But what IKEA is doing is they're trying to make the smart home easy to set up like their furniture. Just simple that anyone can do it. So their hub is going to get Matter support. The problem is they fall into that category of when. It's the question mark, the big coming soon or coming later. We don't really know what that means. So factor that into your decision. I do like what IKEA is doing there, making some very affordable devices and keeping it open so that you can use them with Apple's HomeKit and the other assistants. Now, during this transition to Matter, you got to be careful. There's certain companies that I would have expected certain things would get upgraded. Like, for example, from Nanoleaf, you have the Nanoleaf Essential Bulbs and Strips. These are thread bulbs and strips. They work out great. They're super fast. I'm really surprised they're not going to get Matter support. If you want to have Thread and Matter support, you're going to have to wait to the new versions of these that come out in 2023. There's some great deals on these right now, so it's kind of a tough one because if you're only going to stay in the Apple HomeKit world, getting them with just Thread, you have great devices. But if you think you might want to move across ecosystems, you're better off waiting till they come out with new stuff next year. This is just an example of things that it seemed like would get an update because of the technology it started with, Thread, and not getting an update. Now let's talk about the smart speakers themselves. Apple, Google, and Amazon. Let's start with Apple. So far, I've not heard any limitations really coming from Apple. They seem to be really embracing Matter. I mean, really, it's in their best interest. If these walls come down, more people can move over to Apple. In an article from BGR, one of Apple's execs really goes in and talks about how the transition to Matter was also a good point to redesign the Home app and to make it a lot more user-friendly, which I do think it is. It has some great features to it. With iOS 16.1, Apple turned on Matter support, so now you can use it with devices. And as the Apple exec said in the article, Apple sees the benefits of being able to open up to other ecosystems while maintaining the end-to-end encryption and security that people have come to expect from HomeKit. Now, when it comes to Google, Google has been embracing Thread and Matter. You could go check out their website and they're all over it. You don't hear a lot of Thread talk coming from Amazon at this point, but with Google, you have Thread support in their Nest Wi-Fi Pro, the 2nd Gen Nest Hub, and the Nest Hub Max. So I do need to do a little more reading up to learn more about where Google is with everything. I'm really more an Echo and Amazon guy. Now, when it comes to Amazon, Amazon has 17 Echo devices that are going to support Matter. And Amazon is starting Matter support in December. The thing is that it's limited to just 3 types of devices: smart plugs, smart switches, and smart bulbs. It is also limited to just Android at this point. You're not going to get Amazon iOS Matter support until beginning of next year. Knowing that, if you're in the Amazon space, well, one, if you use an iPhone, you can't start using it yet. But even if you're on Android, if you have a smart lock that is Matter compatible, it doesn't matter because they don't support it yet. Even if a device may be certified, we are going to be limited by what the individual speakers are going to let it do. So the walls between the ecosystems may not come down as quick as we think. Okay, now recommendations. My biggest recommendation is buy devices that work with your primary assistant. Don't buy devices that work with an Echo and not a HomePod, but expect that since it's a Matter device, it should open up any day. That's just, you're opening yourself up for a lot of disappointment. I highly recommend buy stuff that works with all the assistants if you can. Even if you don't plan on moving to HomeKit now, you might choose to later. And if that device doesn't get a Matter update, you still have that flexibility to move across. Now, if there is no HomeKit support, look for Works with Siri. Again, a very important thing is buy based on what the device can do today. not what it's going to do tomorrow. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring with this stuff. Looks like I've been future matter burned already with a device that I thought was going to get an update. I recently bought the Schlage Encode Plus lock. I love the lock. It's great. They said it was going to get Matter support, but apparently it's not now. You're going to have to get a new version. Surprise! But yeah, it sounds like I'm going to need to get a new version if I want it. The only thing that keeps me from feeling bummed out at the possibility of buying a new one is I don't necessarily need to buy a new one because I bought a lock that already works with HomeKit, Amazon, Google, SmartThings, and other options. It connects with Thread, Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth. So I bought a device that has a lot of flexibility already. So lack of Matter support isn't a deal breaker at that point. From what I'm seeing, some of these devices that use hubs like Aqara, Philips, Lutron, those devices have a better shot of the whole lineup getting an update because they only have the one hub that needs updated. You get into Wi-Fi devices and that upgrade plan can get sketchier. For certain things, it's going to be a while before we see Matter versions such as vacuums and cameras, so you might want to pick something between now and then. Google and Amazon users, I would stay open to the idea of Apple's HomeKit. Amazon and Google, I think, make way better assistants, but I'm really finding that HomeKit and the Home app just makes a better smart home controller. So if you're interested or curious, consider getting a HomePod Mini if you're an iPhone user. If you use an iPad, you can set up and run your smart home off an iPad. So if you own an Android phone but have an iPad, you can build a HomeKit home with one of these. I'm excited for what's coming up. It's going to offer more choice, easier setup, and should really just expand the smart home for a lot of people. Now, what is the next smart device you plan on buying? Let us know in the comment section. Next, make sure to check out this video over here for 10 HomePod Mini uses. If you've never used one of these, there's some great stuff in there. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.